If anybody wants to see, like actually see what a very general market analysis looks like, go to an all K-pop or Koreaboo article. That's a market
It's
analysis
literally
report.
true.
Yeah, in its like gentlest, like interniest form, go to and I mean, and these are two websites that I do not at all promote for you to get news from in any way, shape, or form. I would like to put that out there right now. But if you want to see, so the way they structure their articles is they have the author's opinion based on what people are saying online, and then below it, what people are saying online, the actual screen grabs of
Yeah.
accounts and what they're saying. And that is essentially what people are mad about in these market analysis reports. They are literally Koreapoo and
Yeah.
all K-pop articles, and at its most devilish worst, a Panchoa article.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to Ultimate Bias K-Popcast. I'm your host, Dre, and joining me is my co-host, Dana. How are you?
I am doing great, all things considered. I mean,
Okay.
we're recording this on November 4th. So,
Yes.
we are stressed. But
We're surviving.
we're going to make it
surviving in
work.
November. Yeah.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great.
Oh.
I know. But
overall, Halloween weekend? How was it?
Halloween weekend. Did you have fun? Halloween? Did you go out? Did you party? Did you cause a ruckus?
I caused a ruckus in my own vicinity, if that makes sense. No, I didn't go out. I was supposed to go out to a party, but nah. I just, I'm a homebody. I just dressed up as Dragon Ball Z, Krillin, and Android 18. Had a good time, and it was a beautiful thing inside.
Awesome. I was at the club, amazingly enough.
The club?
The club.
Why were you at the club?
Girl, it was my friend's birthday, and she's younger than me, and she wanted to go to the club. And so a few of us ended up at the club. So it's been quite some time since I ended up at the club. But it was fun. A lot of fun. If you follow us on socials, you'll see the things that we did over Halloween weekend. They are there.
I did. To be honest, I thought Dana was at the club just right before this, based on her story pattern, but it was a late upload. I was like, you were at the club before we started recording? I was
Like, it is
she's like, no,
2:30.
that was over for the weekend. I'm like, oh. 'Cause I saw 7 minutes ago. I was like, you went clubbing, drinking, and here? That's crazy. I did that once.
You did that never again.
Yeah, for an interview with Peniel from B2B.
Oh, no.
It was fun.
Actually, you know
Maybe
what?
I should do it more. It got me loose.
That tracks actually with who you were with. So that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
it depends on who you're with.
Yeah, it depends on who you're with.
I think I could do that with people I kind of already know and have a repertoire and then just have fun. But yeah, not again. That was a mess.
Yeah, once was
Anyways,
enough.
enough about us. Enough about us. We have a special guest, Shannon, all the way from England. You're back with us. How are you?
Hiya, I'm good. How's it going?
Surviving.
If it's any consolation, I am also stressed on your behalf for November 4th and 5th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Solidarity.
I tried to
Solidarity across
not
the
get in
pond.
my brain.
Thank you. By the time this goes up, we will know if we were sad or not the next day. So,
Oh my god.
Well, what do we have in today's show, Dana?
oh my God.
What do we have?
So we are going to be talking about the infamous, as they've now been coined, the HYBE Papers.
The high paper.
The HYBE Papers. So we'll just kick it right off. So the reason why Shannon has returned to us again is because she works in marketing, as she said the last time that she was here. For those of you who are new, and this is your first time tuning in, Shannon does work in business, specifically in marketing. And these HYBE papers are, in fact, marketing analysis reports. So we thought, let's bring Shannon back, because she's going to know better than anyone what these are. I have even in my day written reports like this. I have participated in writing them, so I can also throw in a couple of, a little bit of context as to what they are. Granted, I wasn't writing them about the entertainment industry, but every industry has something like this. So we can get into what is actually going on. And for those of you who are tuning in that are like, what are these people even talking about in the first place? What's going on? I know nothing of K-pop. I know nothing of the South Korean music industry. What is this? So just a quick low-level introduction, a couple players at hand here. So HYBE is the largest music conglomerate / company in South Korea. And they recently had some of their marketing analysis reports, I guess, leaked to the public or given to politicians or whatever, what have you. So that's who's at play here. HYBE. HYBE is very famously known for being the home of BTS and also Le Sserafim and TXT and 17 and New Jeans, to name many others. There are quite a few. There's tons because they run on a subsidiary system, so they have the big company and all the little record labels that live under its umbrella. So that's who HYBE is. During a General Assembly meeting, which I guess is like their version of like Congress getting together and having conversations with people, the thing that I was reminded of was when the Senate was going after TikTok. That sort of thing, right? So that's what this General Assembly thing was. At this meeting, a politician by the name of Min, his surname is Min, so we'll call him Politician Min, presented the CEO of B-Lift, who is another subsidiary record label, with these market analysis reports that apparently were given to him. He did not say by whom. So, we do not know how he got these, but he got them. And then from there, several quote-unquote reports were released online. Shannon and I dug through many fake ones to find the real ones so that we could talk about, what was in them.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was not easy.
No, I appreciate y'all.
It was something else. But I will go over typically what a market analysis report is, and then Shannon, who's the pro, will go into more detail on that. Dre, do you have any questions, my dear?
Yes. Okay, so what goes into making a report?
So, several things. The marketing analysis report is typically a report formed by market researchers. So, like in your PR, like sector of your business, there's marketing as part of that. And there will be an entire team of people, depending on how large the company is. It could be a couple of people, it could be a whole like floor of people, paying attention to market trends. So like what's going on in the market, paying attention to what people are saying online, paying attention to what other companies are saying, paying attention to what shareholders are saying. So they're paying attention to what's going on around them, and they'll make reports on what they're seeing, what they're hearing, and how they feel about those things. In that, they will make projections on what they think will happen, how they feel certain sectors of the company should move in the market, how to guide the team on what to do next. And all entertainment companies, whether they be K-pop companies, talent agencies, whether in Korea or around the world, have these departments to do this, because you don't want to inadvertently do something that has been done before, A, and B, do something that people have already stated that they don't like. And my dog is barking. So she's angry about it. Puppy time! Shut up!
Puppy time has something to say.
I know, she's like, damn these market reports. So that's what they are kind of in a nutshell. Shannon,
Okay.
give us the goods further.
Yeah, so I mean, exactly like Dana is saying, market analysis reports, or in this case, I think this HYBE report has been termed as a weekly music industry report that was given allegedly to lots of senior leadership members within HYBE, so across those labels and also the main people within HYBE itself, the main leadership structure. All across all sorts of industries, you'll have people put together these market analysis reports. Effectively, they are about teaching businesses and helping them to figure out what it is they need to keep doing, start doing, stop doing, and change. So a lot of it is getting an understanding and getting a gauge of what is going on with their audience and in the market to make sure that they are on track with what is going on outside. Because a business can go forward with a certain set of ideals of what they think will generate profit or what they think the audience will want. But it's kind of like that situation of kind of the fish being in the water and not really knowing that they're in the water. If you're really entrenched in the business of a company, very insular, you lose a sense of your external market and how you're perceived as a business, and also how good the things that you're offering are in comparison to loads of other competitors. So it's really important to get that gauge. And so market analysis is pretty essential across so many industries. I've done a lot of them myself for clients in the work that I've done over the last few years. I've had people do them for me that I've presented, and they're just part of the life cycle within a business. It's very normal that you would see these, which is why these getting kind of leaked and there being such a level of kind of outrage and sort of all these mixed emotions from the fan base was something that I found really initially confusing when they came out, because I thought it was something catastrophic. There were people talking about this was a whistleblower and this was exposing HYBE for all of their terrible things. And actually, when I finally was able to go through alongside Dana and look at actually what had been translated, had been released, I was like, I do this every week. What is going on? It's all about supply and demand, effectively. It's getting to that point. I mean, a business is going to understand what generates profit in their own mind, but if they don't understand, if they put something out in the world wanting to make a profit and it's not what the audience wants, it's always going to be 100% loss. So it's really pivotal for them.
I see. And like with that being leaked, obviously the response was pretty upsetting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of folks were upset because like what's actually written in them, because they're not gentle. You know what I mean? Like they're not kind. They're speaking on a product, right? And unfortunately, I think the product is presented by actual people. And so some of the things that were said could come off as incredibly harsh. It's also written from like a business perspective. This was said about this happened, this is the result. It's kind of very like cold. In the reports, a lot of people I think are skewing it were like HYBE saying all these negative things, but I think what they have not either noticed or don't notice is that because the way it was kind of cut and pasted together, nothing is in full context, which is a problem to really kind of see it all the way through. But then also a lot of what was in there was fan comments from forums online. So it would be fan comment, and then the person who's analyzing its response and their conclusion based on what they were seeing in forums. And so people are like, what is HYBE doing in these forums? It's like, paying attention to what you're saying, because you're the audience, whether or not it's their group that's being talked about or not. You know what I mean? So it's so I think people felt a little exposed because those negative comments were made by people online.
Yeah.
So, and so HYBE saying, the one that I saw that I'm not even sure if it was real based on the way the page looks, but it was kind of harsh where it was XY group is not particularly attractive. So therefore, it seems that this XY company has changed their aesthetic standards. But that was probably the most negative comment I saw. That was the most like harsh one I saw, I think. And you can kind of figure out who it was written about if you really kind of read between the lines. I don't want to put any more negativity out there. So I'm not going to repeat that, but like word for word. But I mean, and us as regular people, we're thinking, well, there's not a single bad looking person in the idol industry. What does that even mean? But there are comments like that, but you can kind of, when reading through them, you can kind of see what's the fan comment and then what is the person's like response to it, or what is the auditor's response, or not the auditor, the analyzer's response. And I think another fear that people are having is that HYBE is using these reports to start like hate trains on the internet about their quote unquote competition. But I think it's kind of ridiculous because all of these companies, while they don't work together, they work in a system. They work in a system. And so they all kind of work around each other, and they may not be friendly with each other, but they work with each other. Like HYBE has contracts with YG to actually make the physical albums, and HYBE and JYP do concerts together. And so it's like they do kind of work within a vacuum together. And they do pay attention to each other to see what's going on and how people are responding to certain things. That's how trends are created. I mean, we can go back and say 2010 looked like this because this is what was trending in all of the labels, right? And so that's what these reports do. But I think the fans are
it's pretty incestuous. I was going to say it's exactly what you're saying, Dana, that these different companies are like rivals. I think we sort of give like a personality to a lot of the companies that we talk about when we're K-pop fans. We think of like SM as having a personality, and HYBE as having a personality, and JYP Entertainment having a personality, as if they're all kind of in a room like grunting at each other. And that's just not the way that companies work together. When you're in an industry that is actually, I mean, there are loads of really small companies, but when we're dealing at the level of HYBE as a conglomerate and the kind of the original big three, SM, YG, JYP, it's very like incestuous. They share staff, they migrate all around. Their senior leadership shares a lot of each other. They all have the same, shareholders. A lot of them, like they do collaborations with each other. Whenever I've done like market analysis, it's not done in a sense of we're trying to beat you necessarily. That's not usually the language that is used among companies, at least not kind of in the very senior leadership, because they just know each other on a very personal level. And I think exactly what you're saying, that a lot of kind of what people saw were kind of ironically, they were fan comments and people getting really agitated thinking, oh my god, HYBE thinks this about our groups, how could they? It's like, that's what your own fandom is saying about your fan group. Like, you might not agree with their opinions, but there is someone in the end in HYBE who has been tasked with this potentially very unjoyous task of going through the internet and going through forums and going through social media and finding what it is people are talking about on a weekly basis that is worthy of note to tell their senior leadership team about, that might impact the way that they market groups, that might impact the plans they have long term for these groups, and how they're sort of comparing them against, benchmarking them against the groups in other companies. You typically get an idea that when someone's marketing a product in a company, that there is usually a like for like in another company. So a really easy way to understand how your product might do in the market is to look at the performance of the other products going on. So in this kind of quite cold way, if we imagine other idol groups to be products, a really good way to understand if the group that you've created to be similar to vocally, aesthetically, whatever, as a group in another company, if you see kind of drama and you see controversy happening within that fandom about that group, it can be seen as a kind of warning sign for, you know, their group to make some changes or to do something different, or to say, this group's been doing this for many years, it's not really working, let's pivot in a different direction.
Okay, I see.
There's some also moments where I've seen some, like, about these in particular, about, like, we'll get back to the hate trains, like, oh, they're starting these problems. But because they have this information, so they're going to use it against them. No, typically it's used internally so that they don't make the same mistakes. It's typically how it's used for. But also, I think people are thinking that they do work together to a certain degree. Like, they do work around each other and occasionally will collab to work together. But I think what they're not realizing is that they're going to use their own market reports and their own experiences in their own way. So while they do kind of all feed off of each other, just because, say, JYP responds to certain in one way doesn't mean that YG is also going to respond to a similar situation in the same way. Their own higher upper management are going to dictate how they, so like if one person gets kicked out of a group for something, that doesn't mean a similar scandal in another group in another company doesn't mean the company's going to respond the same way, but they will still make the same sort of reports. You know, because there's a lot of people who like to hate HYBE. I'm not totally sure why. It's a company and it's a business and they're out there to make money. So yeah, it's distasteful. But I'm not exactly sure what they've done to like garner so much like hate. I think because the culture of the big three has shifted once they kind of came into play. Because the big three are no longer the big three actually in money making, in the actual like power, money capital that they have. It's really more like the big two, and two of the big three have kind of fallen down to mid-tier companies. And I don't know why people would care, but apparently they do. But it did come out not in the process of this, but very recently, that SM has been found to hire a company to start hate campaigns against HYBE artists. So like things like this have happened. So I think, and so I think it has, so in the process, so a little backstory. It's not even backstory, it's currently happening right now. The CEO of Kakao is currently being charged with stock manipulation because of the SM acquisition.
That's right.
And that was at the time HYBE was in competition to buy those shares to actually absorb SM, and SM was going to become a subsidiary of HYBE. The co-CEOs at the time did not want to become a subsidiary, which I can understand. So they were trying to sell to Kakao. And they successfully did do. But now it's been found they managed to do that because of stock manipulation and a lot of illegalities on the side of Kakao, and probably also SM. But in the process of the investigation, they found that SM Entertainment hired an outside company to manipulate public opinion on the internet in forums during the conflict, they're calling it. So they hired an agency called Astrafe, however it's pronounced. And they were found to have created a chat room that involved 2 SM employees, the director of Astrafe, and 3 representatives of quote-unquote a viral company, which I'm thinking might be Kakao, to actually create negative public opinion about not HYBE, but the groups that exist within them. So they were targeting HYBE by targeting the groups. And to do that, they probably would use their market reports. what are fans saying about any of these groups that is negative? You know, do large swaths of people have a specific issue in one thing? Take that, point it at them, fire. So it does happen, but it's not been something that HYBE's been seen to have done, at least not been caught doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is what is the insidious side of these market analysis reports is they can be used just objectively to make your business better, and that can just be kind of just a neutral kind of thing. It can even benefit fans. It can be giving fans exactly what they're asking for, what they're feeding back on. But exactly like we're saying, you know, this kind of negative press, or it's also referred to as reverse viral marketing, is to create virality out of something that is very negative and to purposely make it seem like it has just exploded and it's just a topical thing. It's actually very sewed in with connections that they've got kind of with different news agencies, with different connections with different journalists. You know, this is not being an SM anti. They have been shown to have done this a lot throughout pretty much since the inception of SM itself. This is their playbook in a lot of cases. So I think it's very interesting that this kind of same expectation has been set for some of the other companies as well. We expect them to revert to the exact same tactics, and that's not to say that they haven't or that they won't, but it's interesting that exactly like we're saying, we kind of ascribe these personalities, I think, to these companies. And I think it also probably goes quite deep into the K-pop kind of environment and the kind of the mythos around K-pop, which has often been, I remember like when I was first into K-pop, there was this idea, and I feel like it still kind of exists now, that you are more likely to be interested in a group when it comes from a specific company. So you used to see it a lot with SM groups. So people used to actually on the street, they used to say, oh, have you heard of this group before? Oh no, I've never heard of them. Oh, they're debuting soon. Oh, maybe I'll check them out. Well, they're an SM group. Oh, I'll definitely check them out because when they put groups out before, I've loved their groups. So there's an expectation that the standard of the agency dictates the standard of the group. So in the exact reverse psychology of it, tarnishing the image of the group tarnishes the image of the company at large, and therefore their stocks, and therefore their standing in the business.
But yeah, if anybody wants to actually see what a very general market analysis looks like, go to an all K-pop or Koreaboo article. That's a market analysis
It's literally
report.
true.
Yeah, in its like gentlest, like interniest form, go to these are two websites that I do not at all promote for you to get news from in any way, shape, or form. I would like to put that out there right now. But if you want to see, so the way they structure their articles is they have the author's opinion based on what people are saying online, and then below it, what people are saying online, the actual screen grabs of accounts and what they're saying. And that is essentially what people are mad about in these market analysis reports. They are literally Koreapoo and all K-pop articles, and at its most devilish worst, a Panchoa article. So, like that that Panchoa, that is no one that if you want to see what's destroying K-pop, go to that account. You know, it's awful.
Yeah.
Come for me, Panchoa.
Oh,
You're
damn.
awful and you cause nothing but strife and pain. But if you want to see like what it is at its base, that's what it is. And I wouldn't be surprised because people are like, how is all K-pop and how is Korea boosted there? How have they not gotten like sued yet or like taken down or deplatformed? One, no company really has the power to do that, especially when it's an international. And two, I wouldn't be surprised if the poor interns that are tasked with pulling these reports are just going to them and just copying and pasting that shit right into their own records. That's what I would do. You know what I mean? You're working for them for free at this point.
Yeah, and that is actually like a really good kind of real life example, because people talk a lot about how all K-pop and Koreaboo always decontextualize things. So they'll always do a really clickbaity title, and it'll always make it seem like it's something that it's actually not. So they'll be like, this shocking fact about Jungkook, or reveals this shocking fact about Mingyu, or some other artist. And actually when you read the article, it's usually this thing has happened and some fans, typically the toxic ones, hate it. But then at the bottom they'll go, but most fans are supportive of it. It's like, so it's not the scandal. It's not the crazy thing that you said. But what you have done is you've taken a statement of a group of people and you've made it seem like that is the overall consensus to generate an interest and generate engagement. And that's something that I think is interesting about the HYBE papers, because having done quite a lot of market analysis reports and having done a lot of social listening, which is effectively this, it's a fancy marketing term for watching people on social media and copying and pasting a bunch of tweets and a bunch of things that people are doing. But the methodology in what is being used by this, whoever's tasked with doing these HYBE papers, I imagine it's probably quite a low-level marketing person, probably not someone of great importance. Might even be the intern, the poor social media intern has been given this joyless job. There's not really a real sense of like how I would typically see a proper analysis report. I think what these papers probably more likely are kind of like just things that are circulated to the high level in leadership, and they probably don't even read them. They probably sit in their inbox for a long time, but they're there if they're ever interested and if they ever want to like read the temperature of the room. But it might not even get used very often because there's actually not a lot of like recommendation in the actual papers. There's a real like lack of someone analyzing what is going on and putting it into context and putting in the nuance. A lot of it is just, this thing happened, fans are unhappy about it, end of. There isn't really a sense in a lot of this of, therefore what we could do is X, what we could do is Y. There's definitely a sense that the person who's authoring this doesn't have a lot of power and influence, and it's kind of just giving them a thing and seeing if they do anything with the thing. And, it was apparently 19,000 pages long. So if someone's delivering a weekly report every single week and it builds up over time, that to me doesn't scream as a document that is very scandalous. That feels like a kind of a task that someone's been assigned that might be useful to a business or might just go into a slush pile.
And just even to add to that, some of the things that I found, like when I was reading through some of the ones that have been translated, that we could tell are actually real. Like one of the things that was said, and this is probably a part that comes from somebody actually looking at something and analyzing something a little bit. In quote, this is a translation that I found. As a team which has steadily built up its reputation for quality live performances, we can begin expanding Le Seraphim's tours in order to position them as a girl group competing against boy groups. Blackpink targeted Coachella and had numerous exchanges with foreign celebrities, but their problem was that they lacked intensive management. Twice has a strong teamwork, but performs major stadiums, but struggles with handling controversial issues. If Le Seraphim can go forward while drawing from the positive outcomes of these two earlier teams, it is very possible for the team to fill the void left by the current absence of a top-tier girl group.
Yeah, so that's a sign of someone actually having a little bit of analysis and actually delivering it, although we can see it's pretty, preferential towards the Seraphim, which it would be because it's coming from an internal HYBE employee. They're not going to say, oh, actually, the Seraphim's doing really badly compared to these other companies. You're going to have a bias when it comes to these. But I also think I've seen other things but exactly like similar. I think one that I saw that I thought was interesting was one of the few times that there was like an authorial voice from this person from HYBE rather than just copying and pasting a tweet or copying and pasting some sort of general consensus. There was one that was about Lisa's Crazy Horse performance, which if people don't know, Crazy Horse is this kind of more like risque burlesque kind of dance club, very exclusive in Paris, and the people didn't really see it coming. But knowing the trajectory of where Lisa's career has gone with her, her solo releases, it seems to fit. Now in hindsight, we look back and go, yeah, that was the first stage in kind of a slight reband or a pivot towards being a bit more grown up, being a bit more kind of mature woman concept. Like, yeah, I'm a grown woman. I'm really proud of my body. I'm going to kind of express that. And the person who was authoring the HYBE report basically said that she was naive to do this because some people thought that it was scandalous and it was a problem. But there's always different ways that you can look at that. And actually, this person who was authoring this report, I do feel like the tweets and the kind of the social listening that's been done really seems to focus in on the Korean fan base, which is not a bad thing. They're Korean companies. They're going to look at what their domestic fan bases are thinking about these things. Yeah. But it kind of points to kind of a lack of kind of a scope when you're looking at doing a lot of social listening. And I know for a fact that when Crazy Horse happened, a lot of people, particularly from international audiences, were praising her. And they were like, yeah, you go, girl, you do that. So kind of having this overall kind of stance saying that Lisa did this and it was bad, it was naive, that's one perspective. But if you're coming from the perspective of this is a pivot towards a more mature concept, brilliantly executed. It just depends on how you look at it.
Absolutely, because even you can tell in the screenshot, like the screen grabs that I pulled of the translations. The translations I found that were actually good, because some of the translations looked insane, but the ones that actually had like full like thought in them, I was like, okay, these. But even when you look, you can tell that the language is kind of a little bit more like it has been translated out of Korean, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do pull some international comments, so then they're translated in Korean, and then it's been translated back into English for us. So it's like, because this sounds a little crazy, and it probably just is a translation upon a translation, so it might be, but there's some comments in here talking specifically about the height of certain idols during like the hosting of a music show, and the way it's written is it reads as somebody complaining online or somebody talking a little shit online, and that's absolutely what it is, because they're saying things like he looked like a little kid next to this guy, so it reads very much as like it's very much just kind of like, it's because, okay, if anybody stands next to anyone in TXT, you're gonna look tiny because TXT are giant people. But
exactly,
so they're talking about
really
how Yeonjun, like Subin is hosting Music Bank or whatever the hell it is, and it's Stray Kids that are standing next to him, and Stray Kids are short kings. And even in like some of the reports, it actually mentions how Changbin is a short king, and some people getting mad, and then other people responding going,
Yes,
but he is. He is the epitome of short king. Like, that's exactly like, what? And that's just what I've seen in fan responses to these papers being released. In the analysis itself, like in the report, Changbin is Changbin my short king is what this translates to. And people being mad that it was in the report, it's like, where was this wrong? And I was like, this might be an example of a Western comment being translated.
Yeah.
Right.
I do find it hilarious that there is this kind of report that's being circulated potentially to senior people in leadership, and like Bang Ji-hook is receiving a report that goes, people think Changbin is a short king. But I mean, like, on a serious note, if it's required, I can give you, some positives of actually HYBE having the information of fans thinking that Changbin is a short king. There is actual like legitimacy in companies having these opinions of fans, because what it does, and I think particularly in the climate that we're in at the moment, with a lot of the conversations that have gone around about different standards within K-pop, particularly the international audience and the domestic audience butting heads quite a lot. There were some things kind of within the HYBE papers that did kind of, there was a sense that they definitely recognise that. They recognise that the international fan bases of a group tend to think this, but Korean fans also tend to think this. But, it's always better that a company actually listens rather than if they don't. And I think that this is maybe a case of people not liking the fact that they are listening to the things that maybe they're like, I want that to be an inside joke. I don't want a big corporation to have this inside joke that we have about Stray Kids being short kings. But like, genuinely, if we want to look at the positives of that, if we're thinking about the kind of very rigid, strict beauty standards that have been around in the idol industry, having something like people, this clear sign that international fans do not care if your guy is under 6 foot. They don't care if your guy is shorter. Yes, exactly. Like short kings for the win. He's so happy. It's like, it is a genuine, like, it's a difference, and it's a trend, and it's a perception and a sign of fans thinking a bit differently, that maybe the industry for a long time has thought we have to go for the tall idols. We it doesn't matter how talented they are, they have to be a certain height. We have to put a tape measure up next to them, and if they don't pass the bar, that is it. This is license for them to potentially go, we can let the short kings in the group because the fans, they eat that up. They love the short kings. Period. It's like justice for the short kings.
I mean, is this kind of shocking for like fans to see like this actual language being used about people? Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Because it does kind of break them down as a product. But it was catastrophized to a certain extent, like because everyone's got to be mad about something at all times, you know. And I think there's this kind of this sense that only HYBE does this, and I just want everyone to listen to me very specifically, like listen to me closely. This is everybody, every company on the planet
Yeah.
does this in some way, shape, or form. It happens like in every industry. Every single company that works in K-pop does this. Every single music agency does this. And I'm talking internationally. Like there's a reason why, like I said earlier, certain decades have vibes. And this was the vibe. But it does come off really harsh when you see so and so isn't as cute as so and so, so therefore so and so's aesthetics are down. Or they're even in some of these reports, they're even talking about like fan response to the fact that HYBE hasn't shut certain things down, and it's because they legally can't. And you know, and they mention it in there. There's one where they say it's about because people were upset. They were surprised to see that HYBE subsidiary artists are also mentioned in these reports, and it's like, well, they're the ones who are probably going to get brought up the most. So because they're paying attention to them the most. But even they say like it's in one of the moments where it is by the company writing about it, and it says the core of the complaint lies in the company's lukewarm response against a great evil such as DC, not DC Comics, but another company. DC Inside is like a tabloid, like a TMZ sort of thing, and so they're referred to the great evil such as DC. So this is another company that HYBE does not care for clearly. However, some also argued that HYBE does not have the power to obtain the information of all online users, especially when even the government can't shut down communities like DC Inside. For now, the fans are on the same page that the blame felt against Jimin's fandom shared across the other fandoms, and it is up to the company to step in when necessary to make sure that the artist is not excluded. So they're making note, this has happened, this is how people are responding, but then there's also this side of thing. And then they even mentioned Jungkook, like the sole issue we have with regard to Jungkook is the issue of his enlistment. Since the showcase, the demand from fans for a world tour has reached new heights. But his enlistment is decided earlier, in that we can expect the fandom to begin their complaining saying the Maknae's sacrifice. So they're already anticipating fans complaining that they're making Jungkook go to the military, even though it was already decided. So there's nothing they could do about it. You know, so like go you know, get your, you know, put your guard up. They're going to start complaining because Jungkook is not going on a world tour and they want him to. So these are some of the things that are in the papers in regards to their own. Honestly, here are some of their top players. And they're making note of the way fans are responding to them and just almost warning this is going to happen because of this. So here it comes. So they're very aware of how people are responding to certain things and certain wants, things that they can't even give them because they can't not tell a grown man not to do something in regards to his own personal and governmental duties. It's like telling somebody they can't go, you know, to jury duty. Your company, you legally can't do that. So, you know, it's the same sort of idea, but they're like prepping.
Exactly. And it's even just like, it's obviously that idea that, oh, fans are going to start complaining. It won't be all fans that would complain about something like that, but it's having an awareness that there are going to be some people who are going to do that. So, you know, people talk a lot about protecting artists against hate. One of the main ways you do that is you anticipate it and the best that you possibly can. And you get a sense that there is this underbelly, there is this undergrowth of toxic fans, sasaengs, whatever, that they are going to kick up a fuss whenever something like this happens. And so, you know, the best way to plan, you know, when they're putting out these statements, you know, like when they talk about what they give to the press, or paparazzi's going to jump on this, what's going to happen, it's smart business when they do these things, particularly when you're dealing with personalities. Like we talked earlier about like the product being the idol. Obviously, we don't want to just think of idols as products. They are people, and the best companies are going to understand that they are people, and they need to be protected emotionally as well as in terms of being an asset that generates profit for a business. So I think that, you know, a lot of this rising tide of people being so angry about this, I wonder if it kind of exposes something about the way that fans actually think, and it being very out there that the business has seen a lot of this and thinking, ooh, I'm not really happy that they've picked up on this. Why can't they pick up on this? But we've only seen a small snapshot. I think we only saw 20 pages of translations in total out of 19,000, supposedly.
damn.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely some fake ones I've seen. There's some that I saw out there. They were like, "Oh my god, guys, look at this," and I was like, "You wrote that yourself." And then it was proven that they had, in fact, just done it to stir stuff up. And unfortunately, that's the climate that is going on at the moment. For like exactly like we said at the beginning, there's a lot of people that really just want. There's people that really want HYBE stocks to take a nosedive, and that's actually not happening, I'm afraid. And I don't know why fans would have such an invested interest in making that happen, but it's not working. So they're still doing very well as a company, as a conglomerate.
Speaking of stocks, actually, one of the things I have in here is, has this affected HYBE publicly? Sure. People are just kind of mad because they don't, because it's like negative things have been said or negative analyses have been made about certain things, about certain idols. But there's also stuff written in here that is good. Like they even say, this went really well for this person. Maybe we can do something and blah, 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 blah. So there's a whole kind of swath of things. But business-wise, has this hurt their stocks? The answer is no. In fact, their stocks have risen. And that is because not only are two of their biggest like idols out and about and an album's going to drop, but also to business people and to people who are wanting to invest, this is the sort of like due diligence that they want to see out of a company they're going to put money in. They want to make sure that the company's paying attention. They want to make sure the company's doing their job. And because like a business person sees these and go, oh, good, they're paying attention. They don't want anything that could negatively impact the company. So this is actually like a good thing for people who want to invest in an entertainment company. This is exactly the sort of movement they want to see. So their stocks have actually risen since this.
You need to look at a business as being in tune with its audience, and the best way is to listen to your audience. I mean, I can think of like two examples, and these are slightly more, these are obviously HYBE examples, but the two things that spring to mind of like recent things that they've done that I think is a really clear indication of one, listening to your audience in one sense and not listening to your audience in another, is if people know the artist made merch that happened with BTS and 17. I think that was a direct response to not even just, I think, social listening online of what people wanted, but also surveying. So HYBE Big Hit specifically was known to do quite a lot of surveying of the own fan base. And I know I filled one in saying, what kind of merch or what kind of products are you most interested in? And I ticked specifically, I'm not really interested in apparel because I can't fit into them. The sizes run pretty small. And I'm not really interested in stationery, but I am interested in homeware. I am interested in things that I can wear, things that are more subtle, things like that. And what happened, a year later after that survey, we got a range of artist merch that were designed by the artist, that kind of connection to the artist being made personally by them. And it was a lot of very subtle homeware, quite mature kind of things. It was a recognition that the fan bases of both 17 went on to do it as well, that both BTS and 17, that their fan bases are older. And it's a recognition of that. We're not just being sold like things that young, the stereotypical young girls might want to buy. These were catered towards adults, and that was a really good recognition of the audience. On the flip side, when they tried to run with the NFTs, which they are still attempting to run, that didn't go down well with the fan base, because that to me was a lack of recognition of what the fan base, that just at large. NFTs are not popular. I don't know if people know this. NFTs don't really go down well with people that are younger and online and in touch, because they have a really bad rep, with crypto bros. And they also go against what I think actual fandoms and why they want to collect things, and how making collectible photo cards digital doesn't actually accomplish what they think. They might think that it's easier to reproduce. They might say it's more environmentally friendly. They might say that it will last forever. Oh, you won't spill your drink on it. It's great. That's not the reason why people collect physical photo cards. There's many other reasons that go into why fans collect things like physical photo cards or collect these mementos. It's not related to those things. A lot of it is the emotional connection, and trying to flog the NFTs, it just bombed because it wasn't in line with what the audience wanted. But they have run a lot of the artist merch and made it very widely available because of the popularity of it. So those are two examples that really spring to mind as to when you listen to your audience, the audience benefits. And when you don't listen to your audience, the audience just goes, nah, and the business has wasted a lot of its money.
Nah.
So Dre, do you have any questions now that we've given you this overview of what these papers are, how people are responding, what's in them?
Not like questions, but more like a more open eye. I kind of already had an idea, like, companies are watching it. I always said that, like, in the past, like, I've been doing this for, like, a long time, too. So I was, like, always telling people, like, hey, they watching. Making me sound like a K-pop conspiracy theorist. Like,
genuinely
nah,
are,
nah.
though.
No, like they're studying, and I've
Yeah.
told people that. I was like, yeah, they're watching, and everybody's like, I don't know. I was like, no, they're studying, because how else would they respond this way, or how else would they respond that way? And back to like companies being personalities too. I thought that as well, and that's why, at least from my perspective, I was like, that's why I never like stand companies. I always was for the artist. I was like, it felt weird to me. I was like, yeah, because I used to be such a like about that life. Like, yeah, I rep this company because these artists. I was like, nah, it's a business in the end. So it kind of like helped me. Like, yeah, see, I was right. All right. I was like in my head the whole time. But also, y'all breaking it down for me as like as a fan, or as even like I felt like a listener, because obviously I was just enjoying the conversation. It just broke it down for me a lot more easier. So I appreciate you for doing all the research and separating all the fake from the real, because that's why I never commented on this, because there was a lot of fake, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but I'm gonna wait. See, I'm now a person that just waits and then responds first, just so I could get the real information. So today was the waiting and understanding, and now I might respond, which you see me here for. But y'all said basically what I really want to know, and I really do appreciate it. I think the listeners appreciate it as well. So yeah, it's not more of a question; it's more of like an understanding. I'm like, yep, exactly.
Yeah, and I think because I know like sometimes for people when they read something and it kind of seems a little harsh, you could easily become fired up and a little upset by it.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is in no way, shape, or form to like tell people what they're feeling is wrong, because you're gonna feel how you're gonna feel regardless. But it's just in
Exactly.
hopes that by explaining what this actually is, perhaps you'll feel less like vitriolic. Like you could still kind of be upset, like, oh, I liked that thing. You mean people didn't like it, you know? And also, this is from the point of view. Some of these comments are from not like even removing the fan comments out. One, if you can say negative shit on the internet, like they see you, dude. So like if you mad about negative shit
really
being
do.
out there, maybe take a big look at yourself for a second, because there might be another company out there categorizing what you're writing to, you know? So be aware of that. Also, when it comes to the actual analyser, like whoever's analyzing all of this and writing these reports out, whoever this intern is, that's their opinion. And their opinion might not necessarily be right.
I definitely sense the person writing writing this. A few times I was like, I think you're a bit of a fuddy-duddy. I think you could probably just lighten up, bro, a little bit. But it's one individual, and I think this is the thing when people were saying HYBE said this. No, it's a guy. It's someone working in HYBE. It's a single individual who
Right.
may be of very little consequence, who is just submitting basically a few pages of kind of screen grabs from Twitter. It's not impactful. When it's all put together with a business strategy and a marketing team and an insight team and all of the people working together in a company the size of HYBE, yes, those insights, they do have an impact and they do contribute to, you know, the long-term strategy of a group. But isolated on their own, small fish. Very, very small fish.
And honestly, the person that they gave this job to might just be that one that they're just like, ugh, it's Jim. God, make him do the reports. You know, so like,
Jim's asking for work again. What should we do? Oh,
give him something. God, he's such an ass. You know, like he could be that guy, you know? And like, and even with the politician who like presented these to the CEO of B-Lift, the CEO of B-Lift was just like, what the fuck are these? You know, he was just like, excuse me, you know, but for this politician, you know, he presented it as if it was this horrific thing that is happening to young people, when if this was like a horrific thing that's physically actually happening to like the young artists that are within these companies, every single CEO from every single record label in Korea would have been in that room. Because that means it's like, because they all have reports like this. On the plus side of things, I don't know if it's a plus side or not, but the CEO of HYBE did come out and apologize. He did say, you know, I'm sorry that this was made to light. I'm sorry that was seen. This is what they are. He explained what they are. He, you know, whether people want to believe him or not, it's up to them. But he explained what they are, and he did apologize that they'll do better about like the way they communicate about the market and the way they do things. And I know for us, being where we are, an apology is kind of an admission of guilt. But I think, you know, for out in Korea, I don't necessarily get that that's the vibe with apologies. Like you just do it to do it. But I've never actually seen a CEO of an entertainment company get up there, especially one this big, and say, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry." that people were hurt by this. I've seen a lot of people's concerns like, but now the idols are going to see these and blah, blah, blah. The idols can just log on to Twitter and see what you're saying about them if they really wanted to know what's in these reports. So like this isn't being like handed to like, this isn't being handed to a new idol group and be like, this is what the internet thinks of you. No, that's not what they're doing with it. It's awful.
It's like when you get a little bit of success and the first thing people say is don't Google yourself. You Google yourself. You might hold back for a little bit. We as human beings, we are self-conscious. We want to get a sense of belonging. We want to feel like we are accepted, particularly when you're so in the public eye. So yeah, the kind of idea that these idols and these groups are totally unaware of what's going on. There's many countless examples of them showing that they are very much aware. They've just been told, just probably by their company, leave it. Don't direct. It's not worth the aggro. Just leave it be. But they know what's going on.
But yeah, thus is the ballad of the HYBE Papers. Will go in infamy as the one of the most controversial leaks of basic ass papers of all time.
I genuinely thought this was when I woke up to this, I thought this was a scandal of epic proportions. And then when I was trying to sift through all of it, and I was like, that's it. That's it.
So that is, in fact, the HYBE Papers. These are the HYBE Papers. That's what was in them. Obviously not going through all 20 pages that were there. There was a lot more in it, but that is the rough breakdown of what was in it and like what each thing consisted of. For anyone who's just like, what actually is this thing that was leaked? Will HYBE continue to make these? Probably. Maybe they won't do it weekly. Maybe it'll be a little more high level. Maybe they won't leave it to the intern. You know, they might make some internal changes. But will the rest of the companies out there still make these? They sure will.
Well, thank you, Dana and Shannon, for basically breaking down the HYBE Papers. I learned a lot and understood a lot, and hopefully the listeners did as well. Appreciate you as always. But up next, news. All right, Dana, what do we have for news today?
All right, we have some good stuff today. We have some OGs making moves.
Ooh, yes.
G-Dragon is back.
Of course.
G-Dragon. He's back.
G-Dragon, just come on the show. Just come on the show. Be a guest.
G-Dragon.
That's the dream.
Get on the show. So he dropped his music video for Power. And he is... God, he's back. He's so back. He's so back. I love the video.
He's back.
He's so back. He's good.
He's talking his ish. He's talking his shit.
He's back. And the video had some little imagery in it. Shading some people who gave him a hard time.
I mean, what do you expect from a creative king?
He looked fantastic. I'm really excited about where he's going from here because I know it's being advertised as just a single release. No word on an album after, but G-Dragon, you pull it in, bud. You better give us an album. That's what I'm saying.
Oh no, there is an album. There's a whole like album list in
There's a whole album list now?
videos, in the first music video. Yeah. It's in like the subway part. Literally 8 songs listed out.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
So it is a full album. Oh
there's
my
a whole list.
Because when it said like single album, I was just like, no, I want a full one. Okay, good.
Nah.
Oh good.
We're gonna get a full album for sure. And then in the performance video, literally, I don't know if it's true, it literally says world tour on the walls. So I don't know.
Oh.
That would be beautiful.
Oh. I don't want to read too literally into
excited.
that, but also at the same time, I will read literally into that. So, like, I'm just going to say, okay, I guess you go on a world tour. And speaking of world tour,
It better.
bringing it on to world tour, Taman. Taman's going on tour.
Oh my God.
Taman. Shannon, he's coming to London, girl. It's on the list.
Oh, girl.
I know. I'm just. I haven't even really processed it properly. I've been waiting. We were waiting so long. I know he's going to do the US first. I know. Eventually.
No. He's going to Macau first. So he's going to start in January. January 4th, he kicks off the tour in Macau, and then off to Mexico City, then Sao Paulo, and then Santiago, and then New York, Chicago, Houston, Oakland, Los Angeles, and then Helsinki, London.
Ooh.
I love that he's going to Helsinki. That feels so like out of pocket. I love that.
Oh my God.
That is so exciting.
I know.
Yeah, I saw him in Paris last year, and he did not properly conceive how popular he was. Like bless him. He genuinely was like, why are they all clapping for me for like 5 minutes? Like, it's because you're Damon. It's because you're Damon. He genuinely thought that no one in Paris was going to know who he was. It was like, I think you need to take yourself more seriously.
He needs to Google himself. Even though we said earlier, never Google yourself. The man needs to maybe for a minute.
Yeah.
And now Twice was announced as a special guest, sticking in world tour theming. Coldplay has been on tour for what feels like 900 years, but Coldplay is going to be going to Seoul. And Twice has been announced as a special guest at their concerts taking place April 16th, 18th, 19th, and 22nd at Goyang Stadium.
Okay, Twice. And Coldplay? Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't see that one coming, to be honest. When they announced it was going to be a
see that.
special guest, I thought it was going to be somebody else. But
Right, I didn't expect Twice.
yeah, Twice. I'm excited to see what they do. That'll be an interesting dynamic because Coldplay are kind of just like dads.
They are now. They're the dads of K-pop. They're fully in it now. After My Universe and
That's
BTS,
true.
they're loving it.
That's true.
They're in it.
They're in.
They just
They're
expanded.
in. Yeah. So now with Twice, I think it'll be really cute. But they're going to be at all the shows, all 4 of them. So they'll be fun.
So cute.
And 17's been on tour for
Yes.
a little bit now. They're still on the U.S. leg. And they've been doing their Aju Nice encore song. And they've
Yup.
been involving the crowd.
What a beautiful thing.
And so if anyone hasn't seen this, I saw one on my own of a group of 3 they just really went for it. They really went for it. And it seemed like the guys of 17 were they were just tickled. They were just tickled. And then I saw one today where she also really went for it. She got a big old hug. She really held it together. But she also, listen, everyone listening, another PSA. Everyone bring it in. Everyone bring it in. If you want your YA moment, the goal, you just need to act ridiculous. Don't try to be cutesy. Don't try to be demure. Okay? Act like an ass.
They love it.
Because
They love it.
you gotta meet them where they are. And they're weird. And so if you go in weird, and I mean that in the best way possible, they're goofy.
You'll stand out.
You will, if you're willing to just throw it all to caution to the wind and have the best time, they're going to be right there with you. So now that we know they've been doing this, it's all over TikTok. Everyone look it up.
Everybody ready.
Oh my God. Everyone's having a great time. Members of 17 are having a great time. I feel like they've really found their niche. So TXT is headlining the Axe Ceremonia in 2025.
Whoa.
And they will be the first K-pop artist to perform at this festival. It takes place in Mexico City.
X.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so other featured
I've never
performers
heard
are
this.
Charlie XCX, Tyler the Creator, FKA Twigs. Love her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Damn.
love Tyler the Creator.
Yeah. And so they're heading to Mexico City in
That should be
2025. So if you're down there in Mexico City, beautiful
Hey.
place.
Turn up.
Show up. You'll have a great time. Great performance. And to continue with TXT news, Subin, our poor gentle giant. Oh my God. So they were performing in Seoul. Okay, so listen, sometimes wardrobe malfunctions happen. They just do. It's just the way it is. It's
Happens.
life. Sometimes, your zipper goes down or your shirt tears or like a bra strap snaps. Like it's just things happy. But unfortunately for Subin, it happened during a show and the button on his jeans decided to remove itself from its place that it's supposed to be. And thus the zipper also decided I'm gonna take a hike too. So he just kind of looked down and was just like, uh-oh. But continued to perform until he found a break in choreo where he could like get back, like he can get the zipper back up. But now fans are calling for him to be the next ambassador at Calvin Klein
Right.
because of his choice of undergarment.
Of Calvin Klein.
I support it.
What?
Poor Subin, but also like he seemed to not be
how
all
does he
that
look
bothered. He was kind of like,
I know, exactly. How does he look so good for like something, a wardrobe malfunction for this?
yeah.
And you look like you're modeling.
Yeah, like we're looking. If those of you who are
Couldn't be
listening,
me.
we're looking at the picture right now, and he looks like he is. I get why they want to call him to be the next ambassador to Calvin Klein because, like, that's in a Calvin Klein poster. That is an ad.
Yeah.
That is an advertisement.
Maybe in that
It
moment,
is.
that's what he thought. Maybe in that moment, he was like, yes, brand ambassadorship, nailed it. Yeah.
It's like, wardrobe malfunction, but brand ambassador?
But it's like, but listen, I'm gonna take advantage of this in a positive way. Hey, Calvin Klein, give me a call. Look what I can do.
I mean, they love K-pop stars. They'd go right for it.
Yeah, especially off the back of Mingyu, because Mingyu is the ambassador right now. Bring in some Subin. Oh, listing. I'm just saying, it's a good idea. We do have a little bit more wardrobe malfunction / backlash. So apparently Jenny is getting backlash for wedding attire, which So international fans commented on Jenny's wedding guest attire, criticizing it was too casual and likening it to funeral attire. K-netizens then expressed surprise at the criticism, explaining that in Korea, guests often wear muted or black and white tones to avoid overshadowing the bride and groom, which makes sense. So in Korea, when you go to a wedding, apparently you wear more semi-casual monochrome outfits. It's seen as respectful. And so many K-netizens defended Jenny's attire, saying it was appropriate. I think let people wear whatever they want to wear to a wedding, as long as it's not white, because of the bride. And that even is more of a Western thing, may not be a Korean thing. You know? Long story short, we all have our own ways and traditions of what to wear to a wedding. It's nobody's business. I think she would know what to wear to a Korean wedding, as she is Korean and has been to weddings before. So, at least I'm assuming she's been to weddings before. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's like, leave the girl alone. Jesus. That's dumb. So ATEEZ's new concept looks for Golden Hour Part 2 are out. And we're going to take a look and we're going to see what we got. So I'm gonna open up this link. I believe in post they're gonna add some imagery so that everyone can see, but I'm not sure. This website. Oh, here it goes. Oh my God, I haven't seen these yet. I was told not to look, and now I'm looking. Oh my God.
Listen, I haven't seen everybody, but the first person I caught my attention was Sunghwa. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sunghwa. How can you get even more beautiful? Like, damn.
He keeps going.
What the fuck?
Just for Golden Hour.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That pink is like...
He surfs it. It's like, it's real.
That's a good wig. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You know,
Only
holy
him.
Shit, the nails. His nails.
Yeah.
But like, even everybody,
you
with
know,
the silver
holy
hair.
Shit.
I couldn't even look at Mingi. Mingi's one of my joy, but I'm Hongjun and Mingi bias, and I looked at Mingi. I was like, no, scroll straight past, scroll on. I can't bear it. I can't do it.
I didn't even see Hongjun. That's my bias too. Wait, okay. I'm at San looking good as always. Oh, Mingi. Okay.
San with his little crown though, his little forehead crown.
Yeah, I love everything about that. Oh, and his shoulders so big.
I mean, I was not gonna say, but you're right.
I have to give appreciation.
Oh my God, Mingi. No, but wait, what is going on with his neck? Like that is a.
I know. I know. That's an anime neck right there. That is an anime neck.
That's an anime neck. It's right. That's what he looks like though. He looks like an anime. You know what he looks like? Oh my God, no. He looks like the Yakuza prince in an anime. Yeah. Who's like the tsundere, where he's like really cold at first, but then warms up to you. He's the guy who beats up the person who picks on you because he loves you. That's him. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the I can fix him.
Yeah.
The thing is though, he looks insane here. He's such a nerd in real life. He's such a goofball.
They always are.
Love him.
Ooh, we got Woo Young with the band-aid on the nose, or like some type of accessory, right?
Hongjun has cat ears. That's oh God.
I did not see that.
I hadn't gotten him yet. He does.
I mean,
the little
devil horns are
devil
cat
one.
ears. I like the duality. If I want either, I'll take both.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm not gonna survive this.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be tearing up.
And then there they are all together. Holy shit.
It's so good. I'm seeing them in January on tour. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm jealous. I need to get tickets.
Oh my God. I can't
wait for Golden Hour Part 2.
Look at the crop tops, the two in the middle and the crop top. Fucking San, stop it. Look at the shoulders on that motherfucker. Jesus.
Wait, who? Wait, who?
San and his shoulders in the group pic all the way down at the bottom, the last one. Look at his
San,
shoulders.
I'm telling you, bro. They made
the way
that.
he's standing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mingi is the Yakuza prince, but San is the bodyguard. that is always there. And he has a heart of gold. He's like gentle with like kittens and
He
shit.
looks like a.
I'm writing a fan fiction.
Do it, Dana. Do it. We need it.
Your song with
That's what
the
the world
eye tattoo,
needs
too.
right now. Holy shit.
I just realized Yoonho's nails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
His nails are amazing. He got a full set.
And then he got Jung-ho with the shoulder armor.
Yeah, I think it's armor. Yeah, it's definitely
Accessory
like an
armor? Nah, but they had me at Songhua.
Yeah.
That was the first picture I saw. I was like speechless.
Yeah.
Does he have a crop top like armor? Like with a chainmail? No, it's not chainmail. Imagine.
Oh my god. Nobody.
Okay, we can move on. It's been 15 minutes.
I mean, but this
we
needs
needed
this
an
needs
hour
time.
studying. No,
Yeah.
please.
I'm zooming in.
Yeosang's titties are almost out. He lifts his other arm up, and we're gonna
They
get
look so
double
beautiful.
nipped.
Stop.
No, I won't.
Stop. I mean,
No titty. They're not gonna be able to be on Music Bank because they only get one titty at a time. Remember?
yep. I remember you telling me that.
One titty at a time.
Okay.
Okay.
We gotta move on.
We'll move on.
I have.
Okay, God. So we should do a whole mini episode just on that. We'll bring it back. So on Saturn news, I'm sorry I'm gonna bring us down now that we've like gotten ourselves to peak crazy. I gotta bring us back down to earth. So Jaehyun is officially left for the military.
I saw this.
We'll see him again May 3rd of 2026.
Dang.
Yeah.
He left us with a good album, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. He did. So Godspeed. Yeah. And Red Velvet's Irene. Her solo debut is coming to us November 26th of this year, of this month.
Let's go, Irene.
She's released her
We
teaser
love this.
art.
I want more. More. Give me more, Irene.
Have you seen the art that they post to tease her album?
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah.
With the butterflies, green hair.
Yeah.
It's what? It's like she's like a garden almost.
Yeah.
It's very regal. It's like a royal painting, as deserved.
Right. I'm curious how it's gonna sound. Unless they already teased it. I don't think so. It's just.
I
the art.
think this just this. I think they've just released this up until this point. They might be releasing
At this
something as we
moment,
speak.
on November 4th.
Yes. Right now.
Yes,
At 4:30 p.m. Chicago Central Time, November
but
4th.
can't wait. Can't wait.
So Jamie just dropped a music video for her song called Bad Luck. Since we're on a theme of green hair, baddies with green hair.
Right? Is it green hair season?
It must be. Is it the new hot color? I don't know. She looked great. Her voice was top tier.
She looked good.
She did.
Yep.
And her
Definitely
nails.
still one of the top tier voices in Korea. I feel like the song "Bad Luck." I don't know who hurt you, but you wishing them bad luck. Basically.
I mean, listen,
In
an
the
eye
whole
for an
song.
eye.
in the most vibey way.
I know. I mean, that's
True.
the best way to like verbally curse somebody would be with a very smooth voice. Because then you don't know what's coming until it's already at you. You're soothed into it, lulled even,
True.
to get got. Because you pulled some shenanigans with Jamie.
No, for real.
Yeah.
I feel like the best way is to make a catchy song that's a diss song at the same time, so everybody's singing it.
Yeah.
Usually, that's the way to go.
That's the way to do it. Because then everybody's joining you in the cursing of this person. So,
Wishing them bad luck.
wishing him bad luck. That's for you, boy. If it was a boy.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Again, thank you, Dana and Shannon, for breaking down the HYBE Papers, of course, letting me understand as a listener, and of course to the other listeners as well.
Oh, you got it. Anytime. You know I got
Yeah.
you. And our listeners. Anytime.
Again, thank you for Shannon for being a special guest. You're amazing, first of all. This is like our third time
It's third time.
talking.
Yeah.
Oh
Third
my
time.
God. It feels like it's like I knew you yesterday. Actually, you're just like a ray of sunshine. You always bring like the interesting like knowledge. Of course, you too, Dana. Of course. I'm not leaving you out. But yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening or watching. Be sure to subscribe, do all the business. You already know what to do. And yeah, this has been Ultimate Bias K-Pop Cast. And see you till the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.